Welcome, everyone, to the Game or Die podcast. My name is Ryan Moore, and as always, we're going to be talking about some video games. It's Sunday, May 12th, 2024, and this Sunday in the United States, it's Mother's Day. So I want to say, hi, Mom, happy Mother's Day, and I love you. With that out of the way, let's talk about some video games. So, if you know me at all, I've been really putting my best foot forward with Twitch streaming or online streaming in general. Pretty much every day around 11 p.m. Central Time, and sometimes even in the afternoons as well if I have time after work, I stream on the internet video games. And that's kind of the major and only way that I play video games at this point, in front of a camera. It's kind of crazy to me because I don't sit down on a couch, relax, and just casually play video games anymore. I do it in front of a camera for, like a second gig. And it's kind of crazy how life has worked out. But luckily, I've been blessed enough to be able to do that and not have to really worry too much about other things. So I'm really trying to make a go of this. However, that has put a damper on what I play, when I play it and all that, but it also has given me a lot of freedom because I am playing video games literally every day. There's only been a couple or a handful of days since January 2nd of 2024 that I have not been streaming for several hours a day playing video games. And that's allowed me to kind of spread my wings out a little bit on playing some different things. And it's been fantastic so far. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the games that I've been playing on stream over the last couple of weeks here since the last podcast, and kind of get into the nitty gritty of a few of the opinions I have, a few of my, the things that I like or dislike about the games that I've been playing. First off the bat, Fallout, the TV series made and produced by Amazon Prime, came out, and people lost their minds over it. Everyone and their mother was watching Fallout on Amazon Prime. Our household is no exception. My wife asked me about it that day when it got announced, and I said, when it came out and released, and I said, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm eager to see. I hope it's really good. We watched it. We loved it. And so, like most people, I wanted to get back into Fallout. Now, unfortunately, Bethesda has not really done much with the Fallout series over the last 15 years or so. Or not 15, sorry. Over the last few years, decade basically, 9 years, because Fallout 4 is the last main game in the franchise. We had Fallout 4 in 2015, and then they put out a VR version in 2017. And if you know me at all, you know I love VR. I love me some virtual reality. So that's what I've been playing a lot over the course of the last several weeks here. I fully went into Fallout 4 when I first started playing it with like, hey, I'm just going to show this off because the girl that I was dating at the time, my wife now, she was asking me about it when the game came out in 2015 when we were dating. And I said, oh, yeah, Fallout, it's this new game. Have you heard about it? And she's like, not really. What's it about? And so me trying to impress her, I bought the game and started playing it and trying to show her Fallout because she actually really likes Skyrim. So I was like, oh, it's like Skyrim, but with guns. She wasn't really super into it, but whatever. But luckily enough for me, I bought the game, I started playing it, trying to impress this girl, and I ended up really, really enjoying the game itself. And so much so that I did finally beat it, a couple years later, and I dumped about 80 hours into Fallout 4, just the regular version. And then in 2017, they came out with a virtual reality port of it, a dedicated native virtual reality port of Fallout 4. Some caveats were that the DLC was not included and nor was it supported, so it doesn't technically work. And it was kind of a little bit busted, like most Bethesda games are. The term jank has been pretty much co-opted and coined for Bethesda games because of the weird interactions that you have with the world, the way the engine is created and how it's all built. That engine is kind of like, really ancient in this day and age. And so there's a lot of little minor issues that can crop up, major issues as well, game crashing, bugs and stuff like that. Me personally, I've never had a huge issue with most Bethesda releases. There was one in Skyrim, and I believe I've told this on the podcast before, but on the 360 version, when Skyrim first came out, I still had my video game store at the time. When I was playing that game on the 360, I encountered a game-breaking bug where I could not advance the storyline, the main storyline. And I already dropped like 90 plus hours into that game. I was having so much fun in Skyrim, dropping 90 hours into that game and then coming to a point where I could not progress the main story. So I eventually dropped it. A few years later, I bought it on PC and restarted the game, and I ended up finally finishing that game, and it was fantastic. I love Skyrim. When Fallout 4 came out, I kind of went through the same thing with, not being really into it, but then really getting into it and having a ton of fun. Then, when the Fallout 4 VR game came out, I basically took my game save, the 80 plus hours of Fallout 4 and beating the game, and then just transferred it into the Fallout 4 VR game and continued my save, which was super awesome. I was so happy to be able to do that. And because I owned all the DLC but never actually played it for the original, I ended up actually playing it in the VR version. There was some issues with it, though, because, like I said, it wasn't fully supported. It wasn't included. I had to do some modding a little bit to get the DLC, which is there is the Nuka-Cola world, like Disneyland for Nuka-Cola DLC. There's Far Harbor as well, which adds a whole unique landscape and continent to the area that you can walk around in the wasteland. Tons of extra DLC stuff that was technically not able to work, but with some mods and stuff like that, I was able to. All that to say, basically, now that the TV show has kind of reinvigorated a lot of people's enthusiasm and joy for the series, it's kind of blown up again. Everyone's playing Fallout. I have been one of the only people playing Fallout 4 in virtual reality over the course of the last couple of weeks here. And it's starting to get there a little bit, but I'm one of the only streamers that I've seen that have been streaming Fallout 4. Up until the last week or so, now I'm seeing a couple hundred people or 100 viewers watching virtual reality Fallout 4. So it's kind of a little bit interesting to see people and watch other streamers try and stream that. I think mine is the best. So please join if you're watching or listening. Go ahead and watch my streams, because I think it's a way more interesting to be able to count the kills and deaths and also have some really great background music from that era, from the Fallout games playing in the background, so that you have a little bit of extra, enjoyment, being able to see the wavelengths and stuff like that too of the music and the game audio and stuff. So that's a little sub from me saying, hey, go check out my streams. But anyways, the Fallout 4 VR game is so fun. It's so interesting. And what I did is I actually just restarted the game. I just said, heck, whatever. I'm just going to restart the game from scratch and, do all the main missions. Now, it's really hard for me to do that, because I hate doing things over again. That's just in my nature. Once I do something, I put my full energy into it, and once I complete it, I don't want to go back to it. The main reason why I don't replay games anymore is because I remember most of that stuff. I remember the storylines and the characters and the dialogue options and the choices that you make and what happens if this happens or whatever. I remember that stuff extremely well. It has very little emotional impact now because I've already experienced it. I don't like having the same experiences over and over and over again. That's just me. I know a ton of people, even my wife included, who love replaying games multiple times. That's just not who I am. I also have the unique advantage of streaming now, but also I like playing pretty much everything that's available to me as much as I possibly can. So if a new game comes out, which new games come out every day, I want to play those. I want to experience those. I want to see what those have to offer as opposed to just playing the same game multiple times through. But if it's a good enough game, I will allow myself to replay a game, but it's got to be A, really good, and B, it's got to have enough time pass for me to kind of not remember as much or as clearly. And I don't think Fallout 4 really has that time frame. It's only been 9 years. And I did play a lot of it in 2017, 2018, whenever the VR port came out. I've revisited it a couple of times by continuing my game save. I had before I restarted this newest playthrough, this second playthrough, I had almost 5 full days, however many hours that is, 5 full days on the game save counter. And I don't let my games run. When I have to go to the bathroom or for an extended period of time or walk away from something for a little bit, if it's less than like 2-3 minutes, I'm closing the game down. I'm not letting it run. So those are full gameplay hours tacked onto that gameplay. It's not like, oh, I left it running for, 8 hours while I went out to dinner, and went to work and came back or something like that. It's really interesting to replay that game because I do remember a lot of stuff, but because it's virtual reality, because I am embedded into the world, I'm living in that game world, it is so enjoyable that I kind of don't care as much. It's also fun because I do have viewers giving me tips and tricks and telling me where to go and, quote unquote, backseat gaming a little bit, which I'm normally fine with. I'm letting them kind of guide my play style. Since I've already played it my way, I can play it someone else's way a little bit. And it's been really, really, really fun. So we're still doing that. It's still going on. I'll probably stream a little bit of it tonight, but it has been a real interesting way to play that game with people telling me and talking to me, because I have text to speech going in my ear as I play it. So I hear people's comments as I'm playing saying, hey, why don't you go to this area and pick up this character? Why don't you grab this gun? Oh, go over here. There's a secret area and there's a glitch here where you can duplicate this or whatever it is. And it's super duper fun. So that's one of the main games that I've been playing. Now, a couple weeks ago, a game launched in early access called No Rest for the Wicked, which was the next game from the developers of Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps, the 2 Ori games coming out from Microsoft Publishing back in 2014, 2015, somewhere around there, right around the beginning of the Xbox One era. Those Ori games were really, really special, especially around the pandemic, because right at the beginning of the pandemic, I decided to play Ori and the Blind Forest and really give it a fair shot, because I played it when it first came out and it really didn't do much for me. I played like an hour of it and I was like, whatever. But when Ori and the Will of the Wisps was coming out, it was coming out on Game Pass, so I didn't have to buy it, which was really nice. But it was a sequel to a game that I've never played before or only played an hour of. So since it was the pandemic, since everyone was kind of being super weird and stuff, I decided, heck, I'm just going to play it, play the first one, see if I can really get into it so that I can play this new one and be in the know. So that's what I did. And I really, really enjoyed those two games. Call them whatever you want. The normal term is Metroidvania, which I despise. I think it is one of the worst genres names in modern history, but whatever. That style of gameplay is so fun and so enjoyable. And since I'm not really into those games, I haven't gotten burnt out on the formula. And so I played Ori and the Blind Forest, and then I literally watched the credits roll, and then I think the next day, or maybe even just a few hours before, the second game was coming out, or a few hours after. So I waited a couple hours and then was able to boot up Ori and Will of the Wisps, the sequel game, for free on Game Pass, and it was awesome. So when I heard, oh, the Ori developers are playing this new game called Rest for the Wicked, I ended up grabbing it and playing it on stream and not really having a good time. I'm really, really bummed out about this game, and I've really thought about it over the course of the last couple of weeks here. It's been in my mind for a little bit. I'll tell you why only a little bit. The reason why is because, no, let me backtrack a little bit. No Rest for the Wicked is basically Dark Souls. It's a over-the-top Dark Souls. They call it genre names. Ugh, I hate them. They call it an ARPG, standing for Action Role-Playing Game, which means nothing to anyone. That's another dumb, stupid term. But what an action role-playing game is, or an ARPG is basically a role-playing game where you are building stats and have damage numbers. It's all about the numbers. It's a spreadsheet game if you really, really distill everything down into basics. Your weapons, your armor, your character level and all this stuff has numbers attached to them, and the higher the number, the more the damage and stuff like that. But the action part comes into play because it's more action-based. You are swinging a sword. You are, controlling the character directly. So there's direct control movements and stuff like that. It is not a dungeon crawler like Diablo, where you are clicking on things and having your character do an action for you and waiting for animations to finish. You're basically controlling the character directly. And No Rest for the Wicked is basically Dark Souls, where it's so brutally hard that I spent 2.5 hour stream trying to get through the first real boss. And I just, at that point, I just dropped it and said, I'm done with this game, and I don't think I'll ever go back to it. It is in early access, so there is going to be a lot of changes being made. I could probably go back to it at some point and play through a little bit more, but man, it left a really, really bad taste in my mouth, which is a bummer because, like I said, I really liked the developers. But that style of gameplay, the art direction, unbelievably talented people. The art style is so different looking in a good way that it's like, oh, people are going to try to replicate this. I feel like people are really going to try to replicate this, and it's going to be very hard because the artists that are working on those games are very talented. But just because the art is good doesn't mean that I like it. I like it from an artistic standpoint. I don't like the direction that they went with because it's all dark and gloomy, and I'm freaking tired of it. I'm tired of Dark Souls. I'm tired of dark and gloomy. I want some sunshine in my life. It's a real bummer because, like I said, there's just this. I played 2.5 hours and I feel like I saw 30% of the screen. It was stormy and rainy and lightning the entire time I played that game. I couldn't see half of what I'm supposed to see. And I'm tired of it. I'm freaking tired of that art direction. So it left a really bad first impression to me. No Rest for the Wicked is definitely not a game I'll probably ever go back to. I might one day, but I don't see myself doing it. It's got to have some major update changes for me to even consider going back to it at this point. Again, bummer. I'm super, super upset saying that. but it's just the way that I feel. I feel like that game just is copying so much of a very tired genre to me. I know there's a million people that disagree with me. I know there are people who say, I just only want games to be Dark Souls. I don't like those people. I don't like what those people have to say. I don't think those opinions are valid, because if every game is Dark Souls, which pretty much most games are at this point, they become very boring to me. I lose all interest. There's no creativity. It's just copying from software's, design, which they themselves just copy. I don't want to get into rant about this. Sorry, but it really, really bothers me. So I was kind of bummed about that. And then what I'm actually happy about is another game came out. Like No Rest for the Wicked was kind of like this big, like, oh, hey, all the streamers are playing this. This is what everyone's talking about. And then Hades 2 launched in early access. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Hades 2 is a game made by Supergiant Games, who made Hades. Hades came out a few years ago after a very long, not very long, but an early access period where it got major development, documentary, and stuff like that. When that game came out, I heard everyone talking about it. And then it launched on Game Pass. And I was like, well, it's a Game Pass game. I'll try it out, because Supergiant, I liked their first game. I liked Bastion, but that was in 2012. And then they came out with a couple other games like Transistor. And I really wasn't into those games, the other games that they created. Then they came out with Hades. And when I played Hades, I went, ooh, this is interesting. The voice acting's really good. It's all about Greek mythology. You are the son of Hades and you're trying to escape the underworld. You've got your mother Nyx, who's kind of like, trying to help you escape. You've got all the different gods trying to help you as well as you go through the underworld trying to escape. And they're giving you quote unquote boons, which are power-ups. So you've got like Aphrodite and Hermes and Apollo and Neptune and stuff like that, and Poseidon. They are all giving you special power-ups to help you, defeat the enemies of the underworld, so that you can in turn defeat your dad and he will let you leave the underworld. Super, super cool. Now, fast forward a few years, after I played that back in 2021, Hades 2 comes out in early access last week. And I watched like 5 minutes of it and I went, dude, it's more Hades. But I really enjoyed it for what I played. I played like 17 hours of Hades. Unfortunately, I never finished it because Hades is one of those games where it's a roguelike, another stupid genre title that makes no sense of why we've attached ourselves to this dumb title. But basically what a roguelike is it's a run-based game. It is a game where you do a run, you make a run of this, level layout, and it's always changing, it's always different. And then at the end, if you die, you go back to the start. But there's some abilities that you get permanent upgrades to, but most of what you get throughout that run of level to level to level to level, you don't get to keep. It just all gets lost. So it's a continual rolling of the dice of what power-ups are you going to get this run? How far are you going to get? And if you've collected certain items in that run, you can sell them or buy them or whatever and get some permanent upgrades as well. And after you die, you load up into a hub world where you get to talk to characters and learn more about the story and all this. And then you can use some of that currency. They call it darkness, these little purple gems, basically, that you accrue throughout your run. You can use them to add permanent upgrades to yourself to make yourself faster or stronger or more, have more health or whatever it is. Unlock new weapons and stuff. Like, it's a really cool style of gameplay. And again, these markets are getting so oversaturated with the same genre There's so many games in the roguelike genre. There's so many games in the survival crafting genre. It's crazy. So I don't play a lot of those games just because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them released every year. So what I do is I kind of wait and try to filter out and basically sift through all the games in those genres and pick out the cream of the crop, the best of the best. Hades is one of the best of the best. And I think it does speak to me on a enjoyable level because I love mythology. I always have since I was a kid. I loved Greek mythology growing up. In the more modern era, with Disney and Marvel, the Norse mythology has gotten a lot more, traction with Thor. So we've seen a lot of Norse mythology. God of War even transitioned from Greek mythology gameplay and story and all that into Norse mythology, which I thought was a really interesting way of making those games. But all that being said, Hades 2 came out. I played a stream of it, and then I went back and played a little bit more, and I went, you know what? I never finished Hades 1. I got all the way to Hades a couple of times, but died in the middle of that boss fight, beating the game, right? Basically, I died right before I beat the game. And the reason why I stopped is because those levels are very long. They take forever. I was doing a stream earlier this week in the afternoon where I was playing Hades, and I got really good weapons. I was making progress. I was, being very careful. That one run took like an hour and 15 minutes. And then I died at a boss. And now I have to go through the whole thing over again. So you basically get super far and then you have to redo it if you die. And when you get to Hades, it's a long run. You finally get to him. And then it's like, you're so tired of playing this game like for an hour and a half, 2 hours straight. You get to the final boss and your health is down. You have no more, power up stuff that can really help you out, like cheat death type of tokens or whatever it is. And then you got to fight this super hard ultimate boss that has multiple phases and all this. And it's just like, I'm tired. I'm not at my best, like when you fight a final boss in a game, you expect there to be like a save point, right? And that's kind of what the detriment of these games are, is there is no save point. The save point is after you die and you reset, you're at the hub world. Now, I think there might be some little shortcuts so that you can skip certain parts, but that takes a while to unlock. And I have not done that yet. And I played another 8 or plus hours in Hades 1 again, because that's what I did. I played Hades 2 in early access. The game's not finished yet, but there's a ton in there. So I went, you know what? I'm going to just go check and see what Hades 1 is, because I never finished it. And I ended up just buying Hades 1 on Steam because it was on Game Pass and then it's gone on Game Pass. So I don't have my Game Pass save. So I had to restart over. But it was like $8. So I said, heck with that. I'm just going to play Hades 1. I'll get good at that game. I will build up my skill set so that when I get to Hades 2, I can have an even better time and really, really go deep into that game. So that's exactly what I did. I bought Hades 1, I started streaming it, and I've had a blast with it so far. It's so enjoyable. It takes a long time. It's exhausting at certain points, but I'm having fun with it. And so that's kind of what's going on with Hades 1 and Hades 2. Then I've been playing a little bit. I've kind of gotten back into the Clone Hero, Rock Band, Guitar Hero type of gameplay. I have been streaming myself playing this PC version of Guitar Hero and Rock Band called Clone Hero. And it's just a Unity built PC application that allows you to import all the songs and videos and all that stuff from those games, Rock Band and Guitar Hero. It also allows people to make their own songs, and there's depositories or repositories of these sites that allow you to search up, has anyone created a song for, or is some gameplay for this song? Has anyone done this song from this band? And you can search by band, you can search by song name, you can search by creator, and people, make their own custom made songs for Guitar Hero and Rock Band. And you can download those, import those into the game, and then play them. Some of them have like fun backgrounds. Some of them have the music video. I was playing one by Bonnie Tyler the other night, and it had the music video for Bonnie Tyler or the Aquabats and stuff. And it's just like, oh, this kind of becomes like a YouTube video channel where you're just playing, music videos in the background, but also having some gameplay as well. So I've been doing that. Last night I played the Beatles Rock Band. I did a whole Beatles set list for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and that was fun. Very exhausting, by the way, because not only am I playing it, I'm also singing. I'm also doing the whole double thread of singing and playing the Rock Band, fake guitar, but it's super fun. It's like performance. I've got lights and, I've got a whole stage show going on. I'll take requests. I have set lists. It's just a good old fun time. Singing my brains out, and it is just a blast. But that's kind of what I've been playing. And I know this is going to be a little bit of a shorter podcast because I have a lot of stuff to do. I haven't been playing a ton of extra games. Those are the ones that I've been really, going for the last couple of weeks is Fallout 4 in virtual reality. That is like the big one that I've been playing. I don't know if people are getting exhausted about it or with it or not. Let me just go off and talk about Twitch streaming just for a minute, just if you care. Twitch streaming is really interesting. I find it very fun because I'm getting in front of a camera. I'm a natural performer. I love performing for people. And that's what Twitch really is. It's a performance medium. You are not just sitting there playing games and people are watching you. They're watching, I hope, and this is what most people really don't understand, is people don't just want to watch videos of gameplay. They want to watch people playing video games. They want to interact with the person playing the game. And that's what I love about it. I used to, have that game store. And one of my favorite things about the game store was being able to talk to people about video games. Twitch is this new creative freedom that I have to be able to interact and talk to people about video games. That's one of the avenues that I have. And it's more personality based, where you have to have a good personality. You have to have an engaging personality. You have to have a personality that people want to, talk to you. That's what I think a lot of people don't understand about Twitch is if you are trying to sit there and be a Twitch streamer without talking or engaging with the audience, without, having something good to say or fun to say where people want to talk to you, it's not going to work out. It's just not. And I've been in these communities over the last couple of months where it's, small streamers trying to learn from each other and blah, blah, blah. And there's so many people who go, I want to start streaming to Twitch. How do I do it? And it's like, oh, here, I'm not getting any views and I've been streaming for 2 years. I saw this the other day and people watch the videos and they're like, dude, you suck. You just sit there. You don't say anything. Maybe you swear a little bit and that's it. It's like these people, not everyone is cut out for that performance. Not everyone is a performer. And that's what Twitch really is. So all that to be said, I find it really fun. I find it like as a creative outlet for me to be able to have fun, goof off, play video games, interact with people, have really cool conversations. But that's also why I have a Discord as well. The Discord server for Game or Die is built up as a community so that we can actively engage in talk about video games. That is something that I personally love doing. And it's something that I have not seen really done very well in the last few years. There have been forums, and there are still forums, but they are not either well regulated or they don't allow creative conversations. They'll, censor a lot of talk if it doesn't follow along with their, community groupthink or hive mind or whatever buzzword phrase you want to say. But it's basically this left-leaning style of it has to be this way. Everyone has to be inclusive. Everyone has to agree with each other no matter what. And if you say anything detrimental, that's basically hate speech. And it's just like, no, it's not. We can disagree. We can have creative conversations. We can disagree with each other and still not hate each other, which is just, it's crazy. So there's that part of it. But there's the other part too, where just people don't know how to talk intelligently about their favorite hobbies. Gaming is my hobby. It's my main source and hobby that I love doing when I'm not working, when I'm not hanging out with my wife, when I'm not helping her with her hobby. Gaming is my main hobby. And there's so many facets to gaming at this point. There's social media facet. There's the Twitch streaming and YouTube video and video content creation and all that stuff as well, along with discussions. And so what I've been doing and I've been trying to do especially over the course of the last month or two is really build up the community and general discussion. That's why we have Game of the Month. May's Game of the Month, and I'll talk about this before I kind of close out, is Kingdom Come Deliverance. And the reason why I chose that is because it's a game that I've never really heard people talk about. I've heard about it in hushed tones over the course of the last couple of years since it came out in 2018 or 19, I can't remember, but in the late 2010s. And the reason why is because I was a member of Giant Bomb Community and they refused to talk about it. They basically said it is not part of our mind think and group aspect of why this game exists. The things in it we disagree with, and so we will shut down conversation. Not just not talk about it or discourage talking about it. It's straight up, we disavow any knowledge of this game even existing, and if you mention the game's name, you're banned. And I just went, this is wild. Why aren't they allowing conversation of other games that they're not covering? Like if someone says, hey, why aren't you covering this game? You're banned from not just discussion. You're banned from the site. And it's just wild to think about that. So I did very, 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 very little research into this because an announcement came out a couple weeks ago. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is coming out, and it's coming out this year. So I went, oh, okay, all right. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is coming out. I should probably get on that first one. From the very few things that I've heard of in those hushed tones, like, we're not really allowed to talk about this, but Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is good, or Kingdom Come Deliverance is good. Like, that's basically what was going on. So I've only heard in hushed tones, Kingdom Come Deliverance is awesome. Everyone should be playing this. Why is no one talking about it? So I made it Game of the Month, and I went in completely blind. I had no idea what the gameplay was like. I didn't even know what genre it was. I ended up playing it and being blown away by not only that it's a first-person combat RPG, action RPG like Skyrim. It's basically medieval Skyrim, and with an emphasis on real world history and locations. Like, so it's historical in a way, like they are definitely creating their own storyline and characters that did not exist, but like the main characters, but there is definitely a, real world aspect. They're talking about kings and queens that actually existed and historical locations that actually existed. So it's historical. It's a first person RPG game, and it's awesome. It's so good. It's so well made. Not only is the gameplay itself and the menu system and all that stuff really well done, the acting and cutscenes are so good. they talk about it, or they use medieval real life terminology for the most part. I think there's some F words in there and stuff, and I don't know how common swearing was back then. I think so. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I've been playing a lot of games, so some of it is melting into my brain a little bit and melding together. But the action and the combat and the cutscenes are so well done. The voice acting really makes you care, like these characters care about each other, and you want to see them do well, and you care about who gets hurt and stuff like that. And it's just, I need to play more of it. I really do. Hades has kind of taken over a lot over the past week and a half or so. What do you call it? Fallout 4 in VR has really taken a lot of my time as well. So I'm really trying to juggle several games at once, and it kind of sucks. I really need to devote more time, energy to finishing games. And it's hard because as a Twitch streamer, as a streamer, when you're talking to people, you're not paying attention to certain cutscenes. You're being distracted a little bit by the glitz, not the glitz and glamour, but the literal, show lights being projected onto my face in front of a TV when I'm trying to focus on a TV and stuff like that. There is so many different facets to streaming that does distract from gameplay. If I really wanted to sit down and just knock out as many games as possible, doing it not in front of a camera would be the best way, but I don't want to do that, right? I'm really trying to make a go of this. So I'm streaming these games, and I just kind of need to focus in sometimes and not pay as close to attention to certain distracting elements. But, that's more of a me thing than anything else. I've been having fun with these games. I'm having a blast with them. And that's also one of the blessings, like I was saying earlier, is being able to do the streaming stuff. I can devote every day to a little bit of video game play, and it really does help a lot. It helps so much when I can sit there and go, oh yeah, right, awesome. I can just play this for a little bit. I can play this game today, and then I can play another game tomorrow for a couple hours. And by the time the month is done, I'm sure I'm going to be able to have more than, 30 hours in a game, and usually beat most games within 30 hours, right? So it really just is a me thing more than anything else, of trying to create a set schedule. I think that is one of the hardest things for me to do, is create a set schedule of me playing some games. All right. Monday is going to be the game of the month. Game of the month Mondays, right? That kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit. All right, Tuesday, we're going to go with the secondary game. Wednesday, we're going to go the third game, and then restart it or something like that. I've been saying it for like the last 2 months. I'm working on the schedule. I'm trying to nail down a schedule, and I want to do a little bit more pomp and circumstance. I want to have some visual flair to my schedules instead of just writing it down. Also, as much as I love to say I'm a creature of habit, I'm also not. I'm very sporadic. Hugely sporadic. So when I walk into the studio 10, 15 minutes before I go live, and I'm starting to write down the going live notifications, I might completely change my mind on what I want to play. I might not even know what I'm going to play until I turn on the camera. I'm live in front of, potentially hundreds of people, and go, all right, what do I want to play? And think about it, So I love streaming. It is such a joy for me to be able to do, to express and get out my thoughts and feelings in front of a camera. I love the camera. I've always loved the camera in front of or behind the scenes as well. Video production has just been one of my passions in life. It always has been. So I am still trying to figure out these little nuts and bolts of things to really make the production well done. And I've talked about this in the Discord server a couple of times. Hey, Ryan, why don't you do this? Hey, Ryan, what about this? And I go, look, my creative process is very sporadic. I have to be in the mindset to be creative. It is not, it's a lightning bolt. When the time strikes me, bam, I'm there. And I talked to my dad about this a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about being creative, and we're very much the same type of person, where my dad and I are very much, when that mood and things strike us, we want to take on the world. But we have to be in the mood. We have to have that creative spark instilled into us. And I think maybe that's a God thing. Maybe God's just saying, hey, look, be creative right now. You've got the time. I'm giving you the time to be creative. Do something with this time. And that's kind of what I feel like. Even right now recording, when I sat down before I hit the record button, I was like, I don't know, I'm not really feeling it. But now I'm energized. I'm ready to go. I'm ready and raring to go. So it's kind of incredible how that spark really does invigorate me, but it has to hit me. And if it doesn't, I just don't care, right? Luckily, thank God, I've been able to do this every day and still get in front of a camera every day for the last 5 months and say, hey, how's it going, everyone? How are you doing? And have conversations and enjoy the time that I spend in front of the camera every night after work, after a full day, and stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning playing Rock Band in front of a camera for an audience and putting on performance or whatever it is, right? So that's kind of the creative process. That's kind of how things are going in my life. So sorry for the emotional dump here, but it's kind of a little bit crazy. It's been fun. I love it so much. All that being said, I'm still working on trying to figure out what games I'm going to play and when I'm going to play them. And I'm really trying to put a lot of energy into the community, the Discord server, the website, which is gameordie.net. Go there right now. Or join the Discord. You can go to gameordie.net and just click on the Discord link. Or if you watch this or listen to it, you know how to get to the Discord link by now, I'm sure. There's like 5 different ways. You can go to my Twitch channel and you can click on Discord. You can go to the YouTube channel and you can click on Discord. There's links everywhere, right? There's no excuse for not joining that. It's free, and it's me really putting forth the energy. Now, this is another thing. I had a different Discord, and I've talked about it on this podcast. I've been listening to some old podcasts because in the Discord, I have created this radio channel that is a 24/7 loop of the podcast. So if you just click on and join the radio program, it's just going to be a random episode of the Game or Die podcast that's continually playing 24/7. So you can jump in, and it's always sporadic. It's always different. And I've been testing it out over the last 2 days, and I've been listening to myself some of the old episodes, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right. I talked about the old Discord that I've been running over the last couple of years. And that Discord unfortunately ran its course in the phrase or way of saying the people in that Discord just don't care about what I'm doing. And it's a bummer. And I finally did a reality check on myself. Like, Ryan, you're putting all this energy into this thing that people don't care about. Like, they just don't care. And that's fine. You know, if they don't care, that's fine. I'm not telling them they need to. They don't need to care. But I'm going to go onto my own thing, my own platform, my own brand that I can fully say, hey, look, this is mine. This is what I'm doing. If you're on board, awesome. If you're not, that's okay too. No harm, no foul, no hard feelings, right? I'm not going to take offense to it. If someone says, hey, I kind of just not into this. I think I'm going to peace out. Bye. Have a good life, right? That's okay. That's the way the world works now. There's no offense taken. One offense would be is if someone says, I don't like you, which happened the other night. I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, it's really interesting to be able to put yourself out there in so much of your energy and time. And that's what I'm trying to do. So if you feel led, if you feel like, hey, Ryan, I really enjoy what you're doing. I want to learn more. I want to have a question of the week like I've been doing. I started question of the week where I propose a question to the community in the Discord server. There's a whole channel dedicated to question of the week. Not only do I propose it, but I also answer my own question. And I think that's what a lot of people don't do. They put out a question, but they don't answer it, or they don't give a full amount of thought into it. So you can go check out, and one of the Discord members typed, "Wow, this is basically an essay channel." But it's basically me putting my real full thought into something. And that's what I want from video game podcasts. That's what I want from a video game website, is someone to talk about video games, but not just give a surface level answer. And that's what I really dislike about a lot of this, media and websites and blah, 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 all this gaming media. They just give surface level answers. They go for the lowest hanging fruit joke too, right? The one that we all thought of instantly, but then they said it and then they don't expand on it. And that's really what I'm trying to do that's different, is to really show, hey, I'm passionate about this. I care about this. If you don't care as much as me, that's fine. But I want you to know that there are other people, maybe that will help someone care more about our hobby that we all enjoy and love together. So if you care about video games, if you want to have great discussions, I'm willing to have a hardcore, in-depth conversation with anyone, anytime, as long as the time allows for it. If I'm super busy, I can't get into it right that second, maybe, but I will absolutely hear someone out, their full thoughts. And that's what the question of the week channel is for as well, is you have your full thoughts. I have my full thoughts. Let's talk about them together. Let's discuss them. This isn't just me putting out my own answer and hearing myself talk. This is me telling you what I think. Now I want to hear what you think. You'll hear everyone say in a YouTube video, "Oh, comment it down below." Like, they don't really care. They don't look at them because most of those comments are just mean-spirited, and again, surface level. "Hey, why don't you do this video instead?" Or, "Hey, why don't you do this?" Like, it's never about the content. It's never about the thing that they're asking people to comment on, right? So that's what question of the week is. Question of the week is, hey, I've got a thought. What do you guys think about this? Here's my idea on it. Here's my, valued opinion, hopefully valued. And then what do you guys think? Do you think differently, or do you think the same? And do you agree with what I'm saying? Agree or disagree, whatever it is, let's talk about it. And that's what I really, really like. So I'm going to wrap this up by just saying, if you care about video game conversation in depth at all, join the Discord. Say hi. I'd love to talk to anyone. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care where you are in the world, as saying, I want to listen to you. Not that I'm not going to listen to you. I will absolutely listen to you no matter where you're from, no matter how old you are. I mean, to an extent, right? There's definitely terms of services where you have to be a certain age to use Discord and stuff like that. But I want to talk to people about video games. That's all. And I hope you hear that in the passion of my voice. And also join and follow the Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/themadman007. Again, you can find this all on the Discord. You can find it in the website. You can find it on the YouTube channel. You can just go to Twitch and type that URL in. It's anywhere and everywhere. You know how to find me at this point. If you like what I do, drop a free Amazon Prime subscription. That Amazon Prime subscription is free for everyone. You can use it. You get one a month for free. And if you like what I do, it does help me out. It gives me, a couple bucks. It's like $2.50. I get half of the $5 subscription fee from Amazon. Or if you actually want to spend money or do gift subs or whatever too, that all does help out. It allows me to go, hey, not only do people care and listen, but they like me enough to actually drop some change in the bucket, which helps pay for, the new desk or whatever, the new camera lens that I want to get, so that all this stuff is more awesome. Anyways, I know I feel gross by saying that. But anyways, I appreciate it. No matter what, it's appreciated, whether you spend money on it or not, whether it's the free subscription or not. I don't care. I just want people to enjoy it. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this up by saying thank you so much for listening. My name is Ryan Moore. I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day. Go tell your mom you love her, and join the Discord, follow the Twitch chat or the channel or the YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. Have a great one. Bye.